Oh no, not again, not again. Heidi, Heidi, come on. Wake up, wake up. Wake up. We slept in!
Good morning and welcome to what Immanuel Church has become. My name is Heidi Peterson and I am married to the lead pastor, Josh, here at Immanuel. And I am so happy that you tuned in to join us. Some of you have been watching us online for a really long time and you're thinking to yourself, this is my preferred way to plug into church. We're happy that you're here. Others of you are missing the church community on Sunday morning and those in-person hugs and greetings. I am hoping that the end is in sight and it won't be long before we are together again. If I have learned anything during this entire experience, it is that we are all over the map with how we are feeling, what our life situations are, even what we're feeling in the course of a day. I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but there are mornings where I wake up and I'm excited about my day, and by lunchtime I am a crying mess on the floor and Josh has to peel me off the floor and bring me back to reality. Now more than ever, we need each other, and we're learning how to need each other differently because of our limitations. And I think what's really cool about the church is that it's not a building. When the Spirit of God lives inside of us, then it doesn't matter what happens around us. Nothing and no one can take away who God is and what the church looks like. Whether that's a handwritten note or sending a text message with scripture in it to encourage our loved ones and our friends, I am excited by the way that God is moving through all of this and the things that he's teaching me. I don't know about you. Now, some of you are new to Immanuel, even virtually, and if you were with us on a Sunday in real life, you would fill out a Connect card. And that's just a way for us to learn about who you are, not a way for us to send you a bunch of stuff in the mail or overload your inbox with unwanted invitations. It's a way for us to get to know you better, to know what your needs are, and ways that you can get plugged in and serve if that's what it is that you want to do. So if that's something that interests you, digitally right now, you can connect by clicking the link that is probably right below me. I don't know where to point to, but we're all becoming kind of tech savvy in these days, aren't we? Hopefully you're able to figure that out. The other thing that I want to draw your attention to is a really cool program that we have here at Immanuel, and it's called Starting Point. Now, Starting Point is an opportunity on a weekly basis for you to get together, usually in real life. Right now it's happening through Zoom. We all have questions about our faith, and we have questions about God and the church and the Bible. Some of us carry a history of hurt when it comes to the church, and we need a safe place with safe people where we can ask those hard questions and grow and learn even more about who God is and what his word has to say. If that's something that interests you, right now we're meeting virtually, and when we get this whole church thing going again in person, it's something that you can join in person. So some of you might think that's a great idea long term, but right now it feels uncomfortable. That's okay. When we come back to church and gather together, it's an opportunity that you have even then. Now, if you're like me, you've got kids running around your house. I've got big kids and I've got little big kids. And I want to let you know that 11 o'clock Central, just following the service today, you can have an opportunity to watch Zach Smoley, who's the kids director, engage the kids in a Bible lesson. There's music. I found myself watching and enjoying it just as much. And what's really cool is a lot of times they offer a challenge for the kids to do to just remind them, even throughout the week, that God is present, because little kids are scared about this too, and they hear what's going on and they're watching the ways that we're reacting, and that's a way to help them know that the peace of God is even offered to them. Our high school ministries and middle school ministries meet at 6 o'clock on Sunday night. If you want to tune in and watch Mark and Eric do some really crazy things. I'm a high school youth leader, and I've learned that I haven't smiled or laughed more than that hour I am watching Eric and Mark interact. So if you need a good laugh and you're not in high school, tune in tonight, just because you will smile and laugh and also learn something about who God is. Finally, Josh is starting a new series today. It's called The Long Wait. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I am waiting for something. I don't know what it is, the end of this COVID, the things that God is teaching me, and we can easily become impatient. They say that when we feel pain intensely, that is when we are the most present. I'm feeling some emotional pain right now and some emotional distress. And if this is an opportunity for God to teach me something, then I want my ears to be open and my heart to be open to what it is He has to teach me. Because we all have our plans and we're all used to what's familiar. And when we get thrown into the unknown, it's an opportunity for us to learn and grow in our faith. And Joanna, our music director here, in a minute, she's gonna be interviewing some good friends of mine, Javier and Judy Maldonado, and they're gonna share their story of all the plans that they thought they had and the incredible ways that God showed up. And it's a painful story, but there are parts of it, all of it, is so redeeming and such a wonderful reminder that even when things are hard, even when we're waiting, that God is present. He never leaves us. He loves us, and He wants to be close to us. I hope that this time more than ever, you are drawing near to God because He is ever close to you. Thank you again for joining us, and I hope that you are learning something over the course of the next hour that we're together.
All right, guys, let's go back 10 years ago. We'd known each other about a year. Tell me a little bit about where you were at that point in your lives. How long had you been married? How old were the kiddos? All that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. So Judy and I were married at the time for 9 years, and we had two daughters, Anjali, who was 7 years old, and Ali, who was 5 years old. And 2010 was a big year for us. We were blessed with another child, and his name was Mateo, and he was born in August of 2010.
And I think I remember telling you, Joanna, that our family was complete the day after he was born. And things we were just really happy. And out of nowhere, the day after he was born, we found out that he had some type of an infection, and he battled and did not win. And he died in our arms the next day, and we were broken. It was hard, just a really difficult year of life, navigating how to still be a parent as you grieve and, still go on with life when you feel like your world just ended. But God is faithful. He helped us little by little get back on our feet. And about a year after, we had decided that we wanted to become a safe family. We had heard about safe families, and it's an organization where they do respite care for kids whose parents are going through different types of crises. And it was kind of cool how God worked, because you fill out the paperwork, and then we get the appointment for the house visit, and it was actually on Mateo's birthday, and we always take that day off. So they came into the home visit that day, and about a month and a half or 2 months later, we get the notification that we're approved. We go to church that Sunday, and Pastor Joe was preaching, and he was talking about what threshold you're at, and we wrote down, we both wrote down trust. We have full-time jobs. We have now an 8 and a 6-year-old. What's this going to look like? And we wrote trust down. We put it on this board at church, and we got a call for a little girl a couple days later. And she was 9 months old, and we picked her up, and we thought it was going to be for 2 weeks. And over the course of a year and a half, she ended up coming to live with us permanently. We became foster parents, her foster parents, and we've been on this crazy trajectory of what that looks like, and fostering, and it's been 6 years.
So 10 years ago, you have Mateo and you think our family's complete. And God says, hold on a minute, I have a different plan.
Mhm.
And obviously, it wasn't one that you would choose. And, I walked that road with you and I saw you really just cling to the Lord in that. And there were good times and hard times in that. And then you decide again, okay, we're going to open our hearts and we're going to open our family to this baby, but it won't be a permanent situation. So here she comes, 9 months old. Here we are. Nevaeh just turned 6, and she's still in your home.
Mhm.
What have the past 5.5 years been for you as you've loved her and you're still technically foster parents, right?
We are, yes. I think the big thing was trying to discover if we can actually love a child that's not biologically ours. When we took Nevaeh into our home, we did it with the mindset of it being a temporary basis. We thought it'd be an opportunity for us to help somebody else out in the world and also heal the hole in our hearts for the loss of our son. We wanted to bring an example forward for our older daughters to be able to still bless others and walk alongside others with their hardship, even though we've faced hardship ourselves. And what I've realized over the course of the time is I fell in love with this little girl who I thought was only going to be temporary. And God has planted her in our hearts and in our family at a more permanent level. And for it to be now 6 years, the journey has been a roller coaster ride. It's been a journey of frustration, a journey of anger, and also a journey of lots of joy and love and celebrations.
I think the thing is, the hard thing has been, how do you love somebody with abandon, but loosely? And that's been something that we've dealt with over the years so many times, where we hear she's leaving, she's going home, and she'd been with us for years. We're like, how do you let her go? I don't know how to do this. And so many times it just kept bringing us back to, God, we have to trust that your plans are better than our own and bigger than ours, and that you love her more than we do, and that you want the best for her as well.
Tell me what this has done with your personal walks with Jesus. What have you learned about the Lord in having to wait and just really just sit and surrender and go, okay, Lord, she's yours and we'll love her while we have her, but we're trusting you in this. Tell me just personally, what that's been like.
Yeah, for me, it was a sense of moving from being a man filled with pride. You asked us where we were 10 years ago, and I was very proud. I was very proud of my career. I was proud of our family life. I was proud of us having 2 healthy daughters, and then assuming we were going to have another healthy child who would still be in our lives. And God, took that opportunity to still speak into our lives and find opportunities for us to still serve Him. And I remember praying with Judy for continued opportunities to still serve God in the midst of this pain and this heartbreak. And I think for me, one thing I've learned over these years is that as I'm saying that prayer to God, asking for opportunities to serve Him, He's brought Nevaeh into our lives as a ministry. Before COVID-19, we were excited. We filled out the paperwork. We had the date set for her court date for adoption. And, we've invited her teacher. We invited a lot of specific family members and friends to be there. And we're just so looking forward to that time to celebrate her. And God's like, not yet. It's not your time, right? And even, despite having a changed court date, the process happened in a manner that we never expected. We expected maybe another year or two. And yes, COVID-19 is happening right now, and there is a delay, but she's with us, and she's been with us, and God's not going to take her from us. And we have completely surrendered ourselves to that. We completely trust in that. So we're looking forward to the day to adopt her officially, and it's going to be in God's timing, and it'll be perfect. But we've been through so much with Nevaeh all these years that at this point, it's full surrender to God. She's constantly been returned to us, even though there's been plenty of times where she's
Oh
been
my
taken
gosh,
from
we've
us.
let
And
her
we
go
thought,
so many times.
yeah, we thought it was the end.
Crying.
But she is a part of our family, and she is my daughter. She's our daughter, and we look forward to making it official.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for taking some time and for sharing your story with us. I love you both very much.
I love you too.
Love you too.
We'll see one another one day again soon.
I know. I hope so.
Why is it that when you sit in the doctor's office in the waiting room, it feels like the longest wait in all of our lives? Have you ever noticed that? It doesn't matter where else you wait. The doctor's office seems like the longest of them all. And here's why I think that's the case. In fact, if you research waiting, which you can do actually, you find a few reasons why some waits feel longer than the other kinds of waits. And one of the reasons is that you're unoccupied. In other words, you don't have anything to do. It's why they try to occupy you by giving you magazines and artwork on the walls to look at and all those kinds of things. But when we aren't feeling like our attention is on something, it just feels like we sit there forever. So office buildings and hotels have gotten wise to this idea, and you'll notice almost every elevator has a mirror next to it, because we'll get occupied with fixing our hair or picking the lint off of our jacket, and we don't realize that we've been waiting for the elevator for 2-3 minutes. So when we're unoccupied, a wait feels longer. The second idea is this, that when we're undefined in the wait, we feel like it's really long. So when there's no end to it in sight, when that has not been given to us, we feel like we just sit there forever. It's why when you walk into the doctor's office, they say the doctor will see you soon. They don't say 15 minutes. They don't say 30 minutes. And so you end up feeling like you're there for hours. Doesn't it seem that way? It's why Christmas isn't a wait, it's anticipation. We get excited because we know that on December 25th, it's Christmas every single year. So when it's December 2nd, you know that it's 23 days and you can hang on for 23 days. The last reason is when we're unaccompanied, when we're by ourselves. Any wait feels longer when you don't have people waiting with you. It's why you'll notice when people camp out outside stores for the newest iPhone release, or when it's Black Friday, they usually do it in pairs or even groups, because you're going to be sitting there for hours. You might as well do it with somebody. So you'll notice people in the doctor's waiting room, they'll pull their phone out and they'll text things like "sup" to random people, because they just want to get a conversation going. They just want to feel like I'm not by myself. Now, when you think about coronavirus or COVID-19 and shelter in place, it is a trifecta of those things. It's a perfect storm. We are unoccupied. There is nothing to do. We can't go to a ball game. We can't go to the movies. We can't go out to eat. It's unaccompanied. We've been forced to isolate, to be by ourselves. And it's undefined. I mean, nobody has said this day for sure everything will go back to normal. It feels like normal is nowhere in sight. And so a lot of us are doing what we do when we're in the doctor's office. We make a plan. We protest by coming up with our own way of getting to the thing that we're longing for, right? There's this promise of, I'm going to get to the doctor, I'm going to get the medicine, I'm going to get the treatment. There's this promise of, I'm going to get out of my house, I'm going to get back to work, I'm going to do these things that I used to do. And what that looks like, at least on the medical end, is often we go, well, I'm avoiding the whole thing. I'm going to keep this in my control, and I'm going to Google what's wrong with me. I'm going to find all those symptoms, and I'm going to tell myself how to take care of myself, right? And we become our own doctors, and the results may vary a little bit. Now, I don't know about you, but especially right now, when we're stuck here, and this is not the vision that any of us had for our lives. This is not the picture that any of us had in mind for 2020. And especially as a Christian, I'm wrestling with this idea that sometimes following Jesus feels like the longest sit in the biggest waiting room of my life. Because it can feel like I'm just waiting for God to show up. I'm just waiting for God to come through on all of the promises that he's made, on all of the things that every pastor and every Christian ever told me was going to be true. Because they don't feel like they're anywhere near right now, especially. In fact, some of us have held on to one verse from the Old Testament for years, and it's all about God's promise. Some of us may even have this tattooed on our body or framed in some cool picture hung on our wall in our house. It's Jeremiah 29:11. And if you've never heard it, this is how it reads. I know, God is speaking, I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. Sounds really good. One of the issues is it was made to Israel centuries and centuries and centuries ago. But I'm sitting here going, okay, God, where's the plan? Where's the good? Where's this hope-filled future? Because right now I'm stuck in my home and I'm going crazy. This is the thing he had in mind. This is the promise. But what no one ever does, no one has ever done, is read the sentence just before that sentence. Read the sentence just before the tattoo, and you will have your eyes opened to a reality that maybe you wish wasn't reality. Because this is what God said first. You will be in Babylon for 70 years. And then I'll deliver. 70 years. I mean, we got nothing on that kind of weight right now. But God says, listen, 7 decades, and then I'm going to show up. I've got this plan for your life, and it's a good thing, but you are going to wait. You're going to sit, and you're going to wonder, and you're going to plan, and your plans are going to fall through for 70 years. So I imagine Israel felt a lot like you and I often feel when we start making plans to accelerate God's promise, right? Because what they did and what we do is we go, well, we don't want God to look dumb. I mean, we bought into this thing that he said, and he's not showing up. So we're going to have to take matters into our own hands. I'm going to have to figure this out for myself. And inevitably, the plan falls through. The picture that we came up with doesn't become reality, and we feel really disappointed. I mean, crushed disappointed. For some of us, it's in living color right now. We're disappointed with our jobs. If we haven't lost our job, we're having to do it in a way that we never thought we would have to, that we would never want to. But that was our plan. And we're disappointed that today doesn't look like what we were planning. For some of us, it's our marriage. I mean, we put rings on our fingers and had the big ceremony and all of that for a happily ever after. That was the picture we had in our minds, right? Big billowy clouds, blue sky, and birds singing. And now, maybe more than ever, as we're locked in our homes together, we're frustrated that that person isn't the person we thought they were. This relationship is not looking or behaving or acting the way we wanted it to. For some of us, it might be our kids. They're not the people we hoped for. They're not the people that we thought they would be. If we're Christians, we might be very frustrated they're not walking with the Lord. What do we do with that? When our plan doesn't line up with whatever plan it seems to be that God has going on. It can leave us really confused, especially when it comes to our relationship with God, right? I mean, has he forgotten us? Have you ever felt that way? Like, has God just forgotten me? He told me he'd show up. He told me he'd be here. He told me this is what my life would be like, but maybe we're just a kid waiting for the friend that stood us up. Or maybe we're just not important to him. Maybe it's that he didn't forget. It's just he chose somebody else because we aren't high enough on the list. Or maybe we had it wrong from the beginning. Right? Like that's ultimately where this lands. We're either wrong about the promise, we're either wrong about where we thought we were going to end up, or we're wrong about the wait. Right? We were wrong. We're either wrong that the doctor's in the house, or we're wrong about why we're having to wait for the doctor that's in the house. And I am convinced, it's the wait that we've got wrong. In fact, I'd go so far as to say, and if you don't hear me say anything else for the next few minutes, make sure you hear this. The wait is part of God's promise, not just a path to it. The wait is part of God's promise, not just the path to it. You see, for you and I, the waiting room is just a means to an end. It's the thing we have to endure. It's the thing we have to survive. It's the thing we have to get past in order to get to the good stuff. And I believe that God looks at us and he goes, when I ask you to wait, when I make you wait, when I delay on this great promise and this great plan I have for your life, it's not just because that there's something in this for you. And I'm going to grow you, and I'm going to shape you, and I'm going to bless you while you wait. And nobody's life exemplifies this more than a guy from the Jewish scriptures, the Old Testament, named Abraham. And I want to give you some context with Abraham because it's sometimes tempting to think of anybody you read about in the Bible as like coming from a great family and a great history, and they never did anything wrong, and that's why God picked them. But Abraham comes from a really messed up situation. Start with, he's one of 3 brothers. And the names of his brothers aren't really important. Just know that he's one of 3. And unfortunately, what we learn is one of those 3 dies relatively young, but not before he had children. So we'll just say it this way. If Abraham's number 1, number 3 dies, but he has all kinds of kids before he does, one of which was named Lot. And if you don't know the story of Abraham, you need to know that Lot is a big part of that story. Lot spends a lot of time with Abraham, and in some ways he becomes his kind of adopted son, even though he's his nephew. But that number 3 brother, he also had a daughter named Milcah. Not his only daughter, but one of them was named Milcah. What's interesting is after number 3 died, number 2 brother married the daughter of number 3. That's right, married his niece. And you thought your family was messed up. You see, God uses people from all kinds of backgrounds. And then to top it all off and to make it even more difficult to get your head around, Abraham discovers that he and his wife, Sarah, can't have kids. There's not going to be any offspring for them. And this is important to hold on to and remember, because at one point, God sits Abraham down and he lays out a picture for his life that seems impossible. And it goes something like this. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and make you famous, and you will be a blessing to others. This is a huge, huge promise. I mean, this picture is amazing, and who wouldn't want that to be what God had planned for them? He's going to have a big family, he's going to have big fame, and he's going to be a huge influence on the world. I mean, God says, you're not just going to bless a few people. You're not going to just bless your next door neighbor. The entire world is going to be blessed through you. And this idea of blessing is so amazing to me because in the Hebrew, it actually reminds me of like an oasis in the desert. It's a reservoir for rest where you might pause in your caravan and get refreshed. And so God says, I'm going to make you an oasis in the desert for the world. They're going to be refreshed by you. They're going to be blessed by you. And Abraham, I imagine, thought and felt just like I would think and felt. That is awesome. And I can't wait for that. There's just one problem, God. I'm 75 years old. At this moment, Abraham is 75 years old. And I don't have any children. So how am I going to have this big family that becomes a great nation if I don't even have one kid? You got to have at least one, God. Lot's my nephew. So how are we going to make this happen? And God says, just wait. Wait a year, 5 years, 10 years, 11 years. And suddenly Abraham's going, tick-tock, God, where's the promise? Where's the finish line here? I've been waiting. I've been sitting. I've been patient. We got to make this happen because I told people what you said and they believed me. And you are going to look bad if you don't come through. I'm going to look crazy if you don't come through on this. So Abraham decides he's going to accelerate God's path to this promise. He's going to plan around whatever God's thinking in order to get the promise to happen more quickly. And this is where we meet a woman named Hagar and her son named Ishmael, who is Abraham's son. You see, what happens is Abraham and Sarah come up with a plan. They do like you and I would. They decide to Google self-diagnosis, and they're going to make this happen on their own. And this is what we read. So Sarai, this was her name before God changed it to Sarah, said to Abram, his name before God changed it to Abraham, "The Lord has prevented me from having children." She says to her husband now, "Go and sleep with my servant." That's Hagar. "Perhaps I can have children through her." And Abram agreed with Sarai's proposal. Let's push this through. Let's make this happen. We have been waiting for more than a decade. It's time to stop waiting. I can't handle it anymore. We're going crazy waiting on God to show up. Now, fast forward centuries later, to a guy named Paul, who led the church that ultimately you and I are part of now, that kind of took the globe by storm. And he writes this letter to a bunch of Christians just like you and me in a place called Galatia. And he references back to Abraham's story. And this is what he said: Ishmael was born in a human attempt to bring about the fulfillment of God's promise. In other words, it was humans trying to do something that they had no business doing, because it wasn't God's promise. Or it wasn't their promise, it was God's promise. It wasn't their plan, it was God's plan. So they were sticking their nose where it didn't belong, and they just couldn't handle it. They just couldn't wait any longer. And what I believe happened, because this is what would have happened for me, maybe you, is that they were holding on to a belief. They weren't believing, they were holding on to a belief. Meaning they had this idea of what things were going to look like and how things were going to turn out, and so they did everything they could to protect that picture, to make sure nothing happened to it and nothing got in the way, and they took matters in their own hands to do it. Instead of just believing. See, when we have a belief, that becomes a possession, a thing that we're going to hold on to. Whereas when we're believing, that's a progression that goes with us and it carries on. It's not stationary. And so God says, listen, I know you took things into your own hands and it's not going well. You can read the story. This does not go well at all. There's all kinds of fighting between Hagar and Sarah, and Ishmael's not looked at how he deserves to be looked at. And it's all kind of a mess. And God shows up through these three characters that are angels that show up, and he sits Abraham down and he says, listen, I'm still going to come through on the promise. The plan is still the plan. The end game is still the end game. And it says right there that Abraham bowed low, but he laughed to himself. He thought, this is craziness, because by this time Abraham is 99 years old. Ishmael's running around. He's like a fourth grader by now. And this promise came 24 years ago. And so he laughs and he says to God, how could I become a father at the age 100? That's not going to happen. So let me tell you, God, how I think this could work and how we could make all of these variables come together. May Ishmael live under your special blessing. I know I came up with a plan. How about you bless my plan? Isn't that amazing? And so what we do, and it's at least what I do. I come up with a plan and I say, hey, God, I know this isn't the picture you had, but it's the picture I had. And if you could bless it and make it the picture you have now, that would be great. Because the more time that passes between the promise and the fulfillment of the promise starts to feel preposterous. It starts to feel like crazy talk. It's not unlike when my kids come to me and they say, Dad, can we play basketball? And I say, sure, we will soon. A day goes by and they may be holding on hope, but then a week goes by, maybe a month. And what do they start saying to themselves? They start thinking, God's never. Well, they don't think of me as God. That was a misspeak. Dad is never going to come through. And what happens then, the reason I'm thinking about God is they end up projecting that onto God later in life. It's been too long, so Dad probably forgot. We're not important to Dad. So when God behaves the same way as Dad behaved, then it must be the case as well. But you know the rest of the story. Well, in case you don't, Isaac is born 1 year later by Sarah. So Abraham is 100. It's been a quarter of a century that's passed between God saying this is what's going to happen and it actually happens. And you got to wonder why. Why did God make Abraham wait all that time? Paul points to the reason why when he writes his letter to the church, to the Christians in Rome. He says, even when there was no reason for hope, Abraham kept hoping. He was fully convinced that God is able to do whatever he promises. And because of Abraham's faith, God counted him as righteous. And then get this. And when God counted him as righteous, it wasn't just for Abraham's benefit. It was recorded for our benefit too, you and me today, assuring us that God will also count us as righteous if we believe in him. And you might go, but wait a minute. Abraham didn't hope flawlessly. He didn't believe flawlessly. The whole Hagar Ishmael thing happened. And to me, that's comforting. It's comforting for me to know that I can still slip up just like Abraham did. I can still doubt and I can still question. I can still plan my way to God's promise. But if I can keep coming back to ultimately believing and trusting and hoping, then God counts me as righteous. If he did it for Abraham, he can do it for me. And if ultimately Abraham didn't have to come up with a plan B, maybe I can learn from that and do it a little different. But what I see in this story is that our wait is always about our faith. The waiting is an opportunity to grow our faith. And our faith growing is what makes us in a right relationship with God, in good standing with God. You see, the wait is part of God's promise, not just the path to it. And so this is what I want to encourage you to do as in the days ahead, weeks ahead, months ahead, however long it is that we're in shelter in place and COVID-19 is the thing. Hold on to the vision with white knuckles, but the process by which you get there with an open hand. Keep a loose grip. I had a friend tell me that years ago, and I can't shake that idea. Hold on to the picture that God's placed in your heart and in your mind for your life. Hold on to that like your life depends on it. But how you're going to get to that may not look the way you expect it to. So hold on to that with a loose grip. Don't plan your way to God's promise. Don't try and accelerate the path. Just trust. Just keep hoping. Just have faith. As difficult as it is, trust that this is part of the picture that God has for your life and that there's something good in it. There's a blessing in it. Maybe the blessing to the world that Abraham became had nothing to do with his son, because we're not talking about his son right now. We're talking about all the years before his son. What if the blessing was giving us an example of what it looks like to wait? And how hard that is, and how how disappointing it can be and confusing it can be, but ultimately that it comes together. So this is what I want to give you to do this week. And it's a little cheesy, but I'm best reminded through physical reminders. So I'm going to encourage you to find a quarter. And it can be any quarter, any year, any state, it doesn't matter. But I want you to keep this on your person for the rest of our time under the, whatever these are, rules that comes with coronavirus. And here's why. Because a quarter is worth 25 cents. And it was 25 years that Abraham had to wait. And what I want you to do in the moments where you're feeling anxious and confused and disappointed and all of that, I want you to put it in your hand and hold on to it tight and count to 25. And then after 25, I want you to open it up and look at the side that says right on it, "In God we trust." No matter how long the wait, I'm going to hold on to the picture. I'm going to hold on to the promise. And I'm going to trust him to get me there. So God's promise is true for your life, but we just may have to wait a little longer. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, it will be easy to forget this as the days go on, as the hours tick by on the clock. But will you remind us often the story of Abraham and the lessons we can take away from it? Help us to be patient. Help us to be trusting. Help us to be hope-filled. As hard as it is to be in this waiting room right now, help us to believe that this is not in vain, that this is a part of the promise, that this is a part of the picture too. We pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Slow down, take time, breathe in, he said, he'll reveal what's to come. The thoughts in his mind, always higher than mine, he'll reveal all to come. So take courage, my heart, stay steadfast, my soul. He's in the waiting. He's in the waiting. And hold on to your hope as your triumph unfolds. He's never failing. He's never failing. Sing praise, my soul. Find strength in joy. Let his words lead you on. Do not forget his great faithfulness. He'll finish all he's begun. So take courage, my heart. Stay steadfast, my soul. He's in the waiting. He's in the waiting. And hold on to your hope as your triumph unfolds. He's never failing. He's never failing. And you who hold the stars, who calls them each by name, will surely keep your promise to me, that I will rise in your victory. And you who hold the stars, who calls them each by name, will surely keep your promise to me, that I will rise in your victory. So take courage, my heart, stay steadfast, my soul. He's in the waiting. He's in the waiting. He's never failing. He's never failing.
Thanks so much for joining us today and letting us be a part of your living room. I hope the last few minutes have been encouraging and an inspiring time, but I also don't want them to be the last time that we connect. So we would love it if you would comment in the comments and let us know where you're watching from, who you're watching with, and if there's anything we can do to help you, let us know. Immanuelhome.org is the best place to find everything you need to know about our community. We would love for you to consider being part of it. Don't forget about that digital Connect card. We'd love the chance to just let you know a little bit more about us and get to know your story as well. Follow us on all the social media platforms. We put a bunch of stuff out every single week. I'm live on Instagram on Mondays and then Facebook Live on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I'd love the chance to say hi midweek. And then finally, with this message is a discussion guide, and you can use that to talk with your family, or if you're connecting with your community group on a Zoom call, you can use it in that way, or even just to journal on your own. We want you to take this from this moment into all the moments ahead with you. Thanks again for being here. We'll see you next Sunday, same time, same place.